Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to CC Productions. Got a solo video today. Connor couldn't make it, but here's a thing that doesn't matter because we are previewing college football week 4, and I am absolutely amped for this slate of games. Top 25 matchups across the board. So let's not waste any more time. Let's get right into previewing these games. We got Colorado at Oregon, UCLA at Utah, Ole Miss at Alabama, Oregon State at Washington State, Ohio State at Notre Dame, and lastly, Iowa at Penn State. We're first going to go over every top 25 matchup this week, give you some insight on some picks there, and then at the end, I'm going to give you 3 of my favorite plays of the week and give you some insight on those games as well. So stick around to the end. Whole lot of great football to talk about and some great picks at the end that I think are going to make you some dough. First off, Colorado at Oregon. Everyone's been talking about Colorado this year. They're the absolute story of college football thus far. 3-0, obviously upset TCU week 1, came back at home and then beat Nebraska and then had an absolute thriller against Colorado State. Ladies and gentlemen, I think that amazing run ends in Autzen Stadium against Oregon. Oregon's minus 21, so if you want to play Colorado plus 21, I don't mind that just because the spread is so big, but they're definitely not winning this one. I will go out and say that right now. When Colorado played TCU, I think the odds makers and the NCAA knew that TCU was not going to be as good as they were last year. I think when they came out and upset them, everyone was freaking out because TCU was in the national championship last year. That's a completely different team. So that was a great win. Don't get me wrong, especially for a team that was 1-11 last year. But this is going to be their first real test against a great team. And I think with all the hype surrounding them, I think Oregon's going to be ready for this game. I think Autzen Stadium is going to be packed out because why would everyone not want to go to this game? So I really think that Oregon is obviously going to win outright, and I honestly would even take him to cover the spread just because I think this is going to be the first time where Colorado gets punched in the mouth a little bit. That being said, when have we ever seen Deion Sanders get embarrassed on a football field? Never. So if you want to take Colorado plus 21, I completely understand because they're giving you every reason to, but I would probably take Oregon if I had to. I'm going to stay away from this game completely, and I'm just going to watch this as a fan and enjoy the heck out of it. So great showdown there between Shedeur Sanders and Bo Nix. That'll be amazing to watch. Hopefully some fireworks. And you know what? If Colorado upsets them, I'll be super happy about it because that's awesome, and I'm not going to have money on it. Next up, UCLA at Utah. And if you're watching this on Friday and it's early and Cam Rising hasn't been slated as for sure playing, because when I checked this last, Cam Rising wasn't for sure playing. It was up in the air. Take Utah minus 6 right now. Utah is a great football team, and I think their only issue is that they haven't had consistent quarterback play with Cam Rising being out. If Cam Rising's at quarterback and he's playing, which is what you're taking the risk on by taking them at minus 6, because if he's for sure playing, the line will definitely go up. But if you can get them at minus 6 at home and Cam Rising plays, I think for sure they will cover this spread. He's obviously a great player. Utah's got a really good team, and having him back, I mean, that's just going to be huge momentum. They might start slow with him, coming back for the first time this year. But once they get rolling, I think they're going to clear for sure. Next up, 15 Ole Miss at Alabama. I'm staying away from this game too. Don't like this game. I don't know about Alabama this year. I mean, we saw them trot out a different quarterback. Jalen Milroe is back in this week. So they're minus 6.5. Is Jalen Milroe going to make enough plays on the ground? And they're at home to cover this spread? I don't know. I really like Jackson Dart, so there's a good chance they come in here and play super well against Alabama and keep this game close. Then again, on the flip side of things, Nick Saban is always fantastic against his former assistants. He might beat the crap out of Lane Kiffin. That being said, he didn't do it to Steve Sarkisian and lost to him earlier in the year. Maybe this is Alabama's down year. I don't know. I'm staying away from Alabama until they either prove to me they're the Alabama of old, which I obviously think will happen because that's how Alabama always works, or they come out and it's not Alabama anymore. So this is another game I'm staying away from. Once again, going to be a lot of fun to watch, see how Jalen Milroe does for Alabama and how they respond after some down weeks, and then see how Jackson Dart does in Tuscaloosa. I think that's going to be a fun one. Oregon State at Washington State. My biggest pull from this, Pac-12 might be crumbling as a conference, but they are playing great football this year. A lot of amazing football out west. So really excited to see this. The big difference here is Oregon State has a huge advantage on the line. They're minus 3. Their offensive line and defensive line is far superior to Washington State's. So if I had to pick spread, I'd probably take Oregon State. I think DJ Ugal. I'm not even going to try to pronounce his last name. I really need to get that down by now. I've heard it like 1,000 times. DJ Ugal. Whatever. I think I would take them. They have a better offensive line, better defensive line, and then he's obviously been playing really well at Oregon State, and I really do like Oregon State this year. I think they're playing really good football. They are on the road, which scares me a little bit. That being said, I don't think Washington State is a really, really tough place to play. Honestly, my pick for this would be under 59. I think Washington State's offense will have a really tough time against Oregon State's front seven, and then I think Oregon State is going to slow it down, run the ball all over Washington State, and that under will probably cash for you. Big time game. We got Ohio State at Notre Dame. Ohio State is -3 here. So can Sam Hartman make it a prove-it game and beat Ohio State at home or cover the spread, of course? Good teams win, great teams cover the spread. But this is a really big test for Notre Dame and Sam Hartman. What are they going to do when they have Ohio State coming to South Bend? Are they going to be able to defend their home turf? I'm not going to put my money on Notre Dame. I'm not going to do it. I would take Ohio State -3. This has happened every year where everyone thinks Notre Dame's going to be good. Ohio State comes in, they beat up on them, and then we're like, oh, yeah, Notre Dame's Notre Dame. They always, have some guys that make plays, and then they don't ever win the big game. So if I had to pick something here, I'm taking Ohio State -3, and if I lose that one, so be it. I'm totally fine with taking Ohio State. I think they'll come in and obviously do what they do every single time they play Notre Dame, which is whoop up on them probably. Lastly, number 24, Iowa at number 7, Penn State. Penn State -15 on this one. Penn State is definitely legit this year. I really like Penn State, possibly as a sleeper in the Big Ten East. But for this game right here, if I had to pick the spread, I'd take Penn State. I think they'll whoop up on Iowa. Iowa's got a great defense, but that offense is going to find it to be really, really difficult against Penn State. So if I had to pick spread, I would pick Penn State. But this game is one of my favorite 3 picks of the week, and it's not the spread. Iowa at Penn State over 40. And you might be saying, why in the world would you pick an over in a Big Ten game? Well, I think Penn State's offense is obviously legit. They're going to put up points on Iowa, even though they've got a great defense. And as we all know, Brian Ferentz needs to score at least 25 points a game to keep his job. So he is going to be trying to score as many points as he can all throughout the game. I mean, it could be the fourth quarter and they could be getting smoked. And we saw it last week. They covered a spread in the last seconds because Brian Ferentz needed more points. So that's my pick right there, over 40. I think Penn State will put up like at least 30. And then I think Iowa will throw in like 2 touchdowns and get it over 40 just because Brian Ferentz needs to keep his job. My second favorite pick is Florida State money line -134 against Clemson. When I saw this, it made no sense to me. I understand they're on the road at Death Valley, but Clemson has not been playing well at all. They've looked terrible this whole year. They haven't been good in who knows how long. So I don't know why this is so close. And I don't know why FSU is only -134 on the money line. This is one of those ones where every time I look at it, it scares me. And I'm like, okay, Vegas knows something I don't hear. And I get worried about it. And I usually stay away from it. But this one, I'm like, I'm going to take Florida State. And if I'm wrong here, I'm wrong here. But like everything in me is telling Florida State's going to win this game. Clemson has not been good. Florida State is legit this year. I think they go into Death Valley, and I think they'd whoop up on Clemson. I think they definitely win this game. Maybe not whoop up. Maybe I could be wrong there. Maybe it's a close game, but I definitely think they win. So until Cade Klubnik and Clemson prove me wrong and they start playing much better football, I'm going to take Florida State in this game all day. Lastly is Memphis +6 at Mizzou. It was at +7 earlier in the week, which I definitely like more. But here's my thought process. Memphis thus far has played Utah State, Bethune-Cookman, and Arkansas State. 3 cakewalk games. You might be saying, why is that good? This is their first real test of the year. Mizzou is now ranked after beating Kansas State last week on a 61-yard bomb that they should not have been able to hit because their coach almost screwed that entire game. If you're watching that, you know what I'm talking about. So I think Mizzou is going to be riding high off that win. They're ranked. They're at home. They got Memphis coming in. They're favorites, overlooking it a little bit. I think Memphis is going to be super amped up for this game. This is their first real test of the year. They're playing a ranked team. Yes, it's on the road at Mizzou. I understand that, which will make it tougher. I think they go in and they cover the spread. I think it'll be very close to start. I think maybe Mizzou rights the ship eventually and wins this game. but I think Memphis keeps it close enough for them to cover this +6 spread. Those are my 3 favorite picks of the week. Let me know if you guys are going to be tailing me, if you're going to be fading me, or what else you guys are thinking for this week. One way or another, I know all Saturday I'm going to be super excited to watch these games. This college football season is officially underway as we've got some amazing games going on this weekend. See ya.